Hi, I'm Connor. I'm our Head of Public Sector at Deakin.
Hi, I'm Euan. I'm a consultant here at Deakin and I've worked on a variety of projects, primarily in the public sector.
Something that we are using and talking about quite a lot at the moment in public sector is the Treasury's Green Book. And that's their kind of key guidance on how to develop business cases and how to appraise them and how to maximise social value in proposed projects and policies. What have you found kind of interesting and useful from that in some of the projects that we've been doing recently?
So I think I used the Green Book in a project quite recently to evaluate a new program organised by a public sector organisation. And it was, what I found very useful about it is it provided a very clear logical structure of what are the things that we are really interested in looking for. And the whole purpose of the Green Book is to maximise the social value return from government investment. It says if you're going to spend taxpayers' money creating a policy, creating a new program, how do we make sure that we are achieving the most social value we can through that? So something that stood out for me was it was extremely logical. It took emotion and anecdote out of the picture and just focused on, okay, of the options that we can do, what's the one that's going to really deliver bang for buck?
So we've used the Green Book recently with our transport client within government looking at one of their arm's length bodies. And that's an entity that spans internationally across 18 different countries. And we use case studies, interviews, mixed methods to go and speak to different stakeholders in industry and in the entity itself to build a really good evidence base that we could then evaluate using the Green Book. And that was the 5-case model, which allowed us to work out kind of stress testing the best option for the future of that entity.
Yeah, absolutely. The exam question, for lack of a better word, was what has been the impact on the UK economy of the activities of this organisation in the last 5 years? And they're active internationally, they're active in over 18 countries, and it's the process of going about how do we quantify that impact? How do we quantify the benefit to the UK taxpayer? How do we see, well, is this benefit that would have happened otherwise, or is this benefit that is new because of this intervention? So the Green Book gave us the tools to essentially make that assessment, taking essentially what we found from the impact over the last 5 years and thinking about, okay, if this is what they've been doing, how can they increase their benefit to the UK taxpayer? Is there ways that they can grow? Is there ways that they can add further social value? And the logical, process set out by the Green Book is to take a step back and to understand, okay, what are the options there? How feasible are these options? Are some options going to be yield better returns, for lack of a better word, than others? And the Green Book provided quite a good framework to be able to assess those.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be really important going forward because we're going to be seeing a lot more sort of localised and place-based initiatives. And ultimately, whilst we've got a fairly constrained fiscal environment, but a lot of competing priorities in terms of infrastructure build, in terms of kind of spending and a lot of eyes on value for money, it's going to be really important that we consistently use the Green Book across these different government initiatives to make sure we are maximising value and ultimately UK PLC is benefiting as most as possible, and we citizens at the end of these services are receiving the best and most important things on the whole.
Yeah, just to develop on that, when we conducted this project, this was done on an older version of the Green Book. Since then, a newer, more updated version, the 2026 edition, has come out. And having read it and having digested it a bit, it's a much more straightforward, it's a much clearer and frankly a much more accessible document than the previous one. So a lot of the feedback from consultations has gone in to make that a more improved document. And also it's structured in a way that addresses a lot of the criticisms that were levied previously. For example, the previous Green Book, some members of the public stated that, well, if the if the underlying argument or the drive is to maximize value for money, social value for money, then the places in the country that are going to receive the most investment because of that are going to be places that are already affluent and or maybe have had that investment in the past, purely because it yields better returns on paper. Well, that's fine from that argument. What happens in practice is that a lot of other places in the country don't receive the investment and could actually need it more. You've had a change in the newest version of the Green Book to put more emphasis on place-based inequalities, on regional disparities, and I guess different areas of different comparable income to filter more, to impact more heavily the value for money calculation.